Hot Springs and Hallandale. We take a look back at the Southwest Stakes and the Fountain of Youth this week on The Future Book. The Future Book starts off in Hallandale on a Friday afternoon. It was Known Agenda, the 1-2 favorite in an allowance race at 9 furlongs. And a small field for this one. Known Agenda, the big favorite, trained by Todd Pletcher. A disappointing effort in the Tampa Bay prep race, the Sam F. Davis. This time around, it was all Known Agenda as he romped by about 4 or 5 lengths. He kind of approached the leaders on the turn and drew away from the field. Now the fractions were solid in the race, just under 24 for the quarter, 47 4 for the half, 112, 137, and then 150 2 for the mile and an eighth. We're still waiting on the speed numbers to come in, but this puts a Known Agenda after this race. Remember, he defeated Greatest Honour in New York last summer. And now he can either point to the Florida Derby, depending on what happens this weekend, or maybe for the Wood Memorial for trainer Todd Pletcher. A nice victory in an allowance race for Known Agenda right here on the Future Book. The Future Book continues. Hallandale, Florida. It was Saturday action and the Fountain of Youth, highlighting the 14 race card. Race favorite coming in, opening up at 3-5 on the board was Greatest Honour. And the new shooter in this race was Drain the Clock, stretching out from a couple of nice sprint wins. And everybody kind of thought coming into this race that Drain the Clock might be the speed of the speed. So the final odds were even money on Greatest Honour, 5-2 on Drain the Clock. Drain the Clock was able to establish the pace, opened up coming into the stretch. And halfway down the stretch, he was moving along pretty good. You could see him shorten in stride a little bit. Meanwhile, Greatest Honour, with the quicker pace this time, was further back than he was in the Holy Bull, and that allowed Drain the Clock to kind of spread out the field. Prime Factor moved up from mid-pack. He flattened out before the turn. Papa 2 kind of made a little bit of a run from that 10th post position going into the turn, but down the center of the track, once he finally got clear after a little bit early trouble in the race, it was Greatest Honour really picking up stride late and kind of cantering to the wire and pretty much eased up on the line. Now the speed figure came back in this race, originally an 83. They moved it up to an 89 on the Byers scale, 97 on the Brisnet scale for Greatest Honour. And that was pretty much the race. So now Greatest Honour has won the Holy Bull. He's won the Fountain of Youth. And next up right now, the early word is that he is going to move toward the Florida Derby. Also in Hallandale, a maiden winner, Collaborate by Into Mischief, his second lifetime start. He picked up a winner for trainer Joseph Safi. Looks like he may be pointing for the Florida Derby, along with recent allowance winner Known Agenda and possibly Soup and Sandwich in that race. Looks like Drain the Clock is going to cut back and go back to sprinting out of this one. No word yet on Prime Factor. At Oaklawn Park, it rained in the afternoon. The skies darkened, and you know what they say, always bet the gray on a gray day, and Essential Quality made that look like value. 4-5 to even money most of the betting. It went off at 4-5. It was Jackie's Warrior supposed to be playing the role of pace setter in this race, and he did set some fractions, but he kind of folded up weakly for his first race off the layoff. And a lot of people were questioning his distance limitations coming into this race. And Essential Quality now 4 for 4 after the victory. All weekend long, there definitely was a outside late pace flow to the races, so that may have helped Essential Quality. It's always hard to judge speed figures in the slop, but the victory in the Southwest Stakes picked him up 10 more points on the Kentucky Derby points leaders list. He's now got 40 points. And the Byers speed figure came back a 96, which puts him right where he needs to be. He'll have one more prep, either the Bluegrass or the Arkansas Derby. Now, trainer Brad Cox has got 3 horses right now pointing for big races. Caddo River's going to run on March 13th in the Rebel Stakes, going to be taking on Concert Tour, Keep Me in Mind, and Senor Buscador in that race. Meanwhile, it looks like Mandaloon, Midnight Bourbon, and Proxy are going to get the rematch in Louisiana. So that's Brad Cox's third horse, Mandaloon. So depending on how those horses do, we'll probably see, I would say, the Bluegrass Stakes next for possibly the final start before the Kentucky Derby for Essential Quality. And he's also got those nice wins last fall at Keeneland. Caddo River, if he runs well in the Rebel Stakes, he'll probably come back for the Arkansas Derby, as the connections on Caddo River are more Arkansas based. So that's where the three runners from the Brad Cox are going to go. Hush of a Storm, that was the winner of the John Battaglia on the synthetic surface. He beat the favored Gretzky the Great, so he's going to probably continue on that path, although Gretzky the Great maybe could improve second start off the layoff on the synthetic next time out in Turfway Park. Otherwise, the other horses, most of the horses hit their workouts over the weekend. Medina Spirit fired a bullet. Looks like he's going to take on Life is Good, and the big maiden winner a couple weeks back, and also the great one, and that one for trainer Doug O'Neill. So that'll be highlighting the San Felipe field. 7 horses going to be going at it in Gotham Stakes next weekend. We'll take a look at that later on this week. But right now, looks like a couple of shippers from out west wiped the slate. And then for trainer Bob Baffert, Freedom Fighter going to come on and take on a couple of the New York-based horses, and that one, Capo Cane, coming out of the withers and shortening back up to a mile in that one, and highly motivated for trainer Chad Brown. So an interesting Gotham Stakes. Next week also we got the Tampa Bay Derby, so 3 more prep races, and the Santa Ynez for the Oaks Fillies. Lots of action going on this week, and we're starting now as the calendar flips to March 1st. It's starting to get within 60 days, and we'll start having more previews and recaps and get you set up for the possible pace of the Kentucky Derby, trainers and jockeys, and other things on the Kentucky Derby card. That's a look at the future book for March the 1st. Remember, as Dean Wayne Lucas always says, people have opinions, horses have the facts.